Hello, guys. Like YouTube catch up. I'm still not showing live yet. There we are. Hello, hello. How is everybody? Woohoo! Everybody's here. I don't know about everybody, but some people are here. I like you guys. They're early. I like early. How is everybody today? It's Wednesday. I got ready for this live all day, and all day I thought, ooh, today's Sunday. And it's like, no, it's not Sunday. It's Wednesday. You guys like this time of day or this time of the week? Wednesdays at 7? Maybe we'll do like some themed lives just pointed at one case or something on Wednesdays. If this gets enough of a turnout, enough people are interested. Let's see who all we have. We have Stephanie. Algo's here. Who else is here? Jane Doe, whoever that is. Avocado Baby. Who else do we have? Other Stephanie's. Sandy Lee is here. Algo has changed his name to Judge Algo. That's interesting. Little Tree, Moira. Shy Meadow is here. Bubs is here. Diane's here. My goodness, Paisley's here. Everybody's here. So we're going to talk about summer tonight. Well, the theme is summer. I have a feeling it's going to be a lot about everybody around summer. I don't have a ton of rules. Like, we can talk about a lot of stuff. Please don't get me demonetized if I don't have to be. You're in your car, Chelsea. You better drive fast. I'm kidding. I don't recall. Rotary dial. Hello, hello. Miss Wee Lassie. Judge Algo is a barrister now. Yeah, there you go. Truth Sleuth. Hi, everybody. So, I have a Discord server now. There's a ton of people, and it goes all night long. We've got people everywhere, apparently. That thing just seems like it never stops. There's always somebody posting something. So they've been talking about the Suzanne Morphew preliminary trial, but a lot of people are talking about summer. That's kind of where most of the chat's at, other than like the mods. Everybody's talking about summer. Summer, summer, summer. So Algo's going to come on here in a little bit, and he's going to talk about some stuff around summer. But this isn't like I don't have a ton of that stuff I want to talk about. I just want to kind of see where you guys are, what you think, what's going on. It's so hard not to even have anything from law enforcement, so everything's kind of speculation. That's why I haven't made any videos, because I promised when this started the videos would be press conferences and law enforcement releases, stuff that we could take as fact. And then the rest of the time, it's hearsay. That's what we think. It's what everybody's talking about. So, how funny! You guys are so funny. Hello, hello, haiku. So many new people that have never been here. Tina Osborne. Yeah, trying to go through the stuff. So, if you haven't joined the Discord, I don't know why. It's fun. There are two rules in Discord: be nice, and number two is the rule number one. That's it. So be nice, but come talk to everybody. We can talk about other cases, all kinds of that kind of stuff. Hello, hello, Alicia, Candy Lee. Wow, everybody's here. This is a pretty good turnout. I guess Wednesdays are a pretty good day for people. What's Paisley saying? Yeah, I'm getting ready to play the little statement. Actually, I'll probably go ahead and do that. Let me see. Nope. Oh. Share screen. Chrome tab. All righty, you guys see this fun stuff? All right, let's see. Let's play this guy. This is the Hawkins County Sheriff. This is what they released through the TBI and the Hawkins County Sheriff's Department on Twitter is where I found it today.
About where we're at
Wait, let me start it over.
in the case as far as investigation. I know.
Can y'all hear that? It's really quiet.
And I understand that, but they have to understand our number one goal from day one is to find Summer. And everybody's still a suspect, person of interest, however you want to put it, and we're still very intensely looking into it. I understand people's curiosity about where we're at in the case as far as investigation. I know people speculate, and I understand that, but they have to understand our number one goal from day one is to find Summer, and everybody's still a suspect, person of interest, however you want to put it, and we're still very intensely looking into it.
So I let that play through twice just in case, because it was quick. That was a quick little update. But basically, we're not going to tell you guys anything. Nobody's ruled out. Everybody's a person of interest. So that's really disheartening because we're coming up on 2 months, guys. 2 months that's a long time. And I mean, we don't have a real timeline narrowed down by law enforcement. Nobody's alibis have been checked out. We have a lot of people talking. A lot of people talking to a lot of different people. What do you guys think? Do you think it's a good idea that so many people are talking to YouTubers? I mean, let's be honest. They're talking to YouTubers. Yeah, they're on the news, but for the most part, some of the adjacent people are going to YouTubers, or YouTubers are asking them. Yeah, that is all of it, Alco. That was the entire clip. I played through twice. Can you play it again? Yeah. Yep, I can play it again.
I understand people's curiosity about where we're at in the case as far as investigation. I know people speculate, and I understand that, but they have to understand our number one goal from day one is to find Summer, and everybody's still a suspect, person of interest, however you want to put it, and we're still very intensely looking into it. I understand people's curiosity.
Yep, that's it. Man, a few words. Very long, drawn out words because we're from Tennessee. Yeah. So I've been working on, I typed out my theory. Um, I don't know. I go back and forth on whether or not, like, it's on Discord. People can tear it apart or poke holes in it. That's what I've been asking for. I don't want to be right. I want to figure out what happened. And so it's just things that stuck out to me. And so my theory doesn't even cover all the points in the case, doesn't have a lot of names tied to it. It's just things that could have happened that day, that between the interviews and what we do know or people are talking about, things that they've said that stuck out to me. So, so let's just get some general census kind of things. If you are of the opinion that the parents are involved, um, put a one, either in straight up involved or it's an accident cover up. If you think it's the parents have to do with her disappearance, put a one. It's a lot of you. Yeah, that is a lot of you. Okay. If you think this is an abduction, either a stranger or somebody tied to the family, put a 2. Yeah, when I saw the parents, one or the other, it doesn't matter. Some 2s. You can be a 1 and a 2. You think that they're involved in an abduction? Okay, out of the 2s, out of the 1s, okay, if you think the parents are involved, put a 1 if you think it's Dawn, put a 2 if you think it's Candace, and put a 3 if you think it's both. Sorry, this is interactive. I'm going to have some quiet spots because I don't know what you guys are thinking. 1 for Dawn, 2 for Candace, 3 for both. Mostly Dawn or both. Okie dokie. You didn't miss much. I see you. YouTube didn't remind you. That's not very nice of them. I planned this out and everything. Okay, so if you're in the abduction group, the 2s earlier, put a 4 if you think it's somebody tied to the family, and a 5 if you think it's a stranger. That is interesting that nobody thinks Candace anymore because everybody, I felt like, speculated it was Candace in the beginning. 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. Lots of 4s. So still more people think it's the parents than an abduction. Okay. Put a 1 if you think grandma has anything to do with it. I think they know. Put a 2 if you think Hunter has anything to do with it whatsoever. Oh, it's not moving. That's none of you. Okay. Very, very little. Okay. Anything I didn't cover that I forgot? Not very many people. A couple. Hunter doesn't have anything to do with it. Yeah. Just because there's some newer people, I mostly cover. I think all I've covered on my channel is Kid Cases. So I'm here in Tennessee, and so Summer came across my desk as an Amber Alert, and I did a video, and then here we are, almost 2 months later. So I've been covering the press conferences. I've been covering all the interviews and stuff like that were on the news and stuff put out by law enforcement. My immediate, I guess I should back up from that. The only experience I have, obviously, I have nothing to do with law enforcement. I don't have any legal experience. The only life experience that I have is I've worked with domestic violence victims and women trying to get their kids back. My mom opened a domestic violence shelter that we did for 12 years, and there was also a residential program for women that were coming out of rehab or jail that were trying to get their kids back from CPS. So that's the only semi professional experience that I have. So I tore Dawn's interviews apart at the beginning and gave my point of view to if there were red flags or not. Um, I've covered that on other cases. I did that with Amari Nicholson's mom and boyfriend on the uncut interview. Nailed that one, if I do say so myself. And Caleb Wisnett, if you know about that case, I talked about the press conference that he did with CJ's mom, and I was right about that one too. Next day, he got arrested. Um, so I come at it more of a this looks sketchy, not necessarily like from a guilt phase. It's more bad relationship vibes. Does that make sense? So I watched the interview with like Dawn and the little boy. Um, in my opinion, I don't think he was controlling his son the way that he had him held. I know a lot of people think that it looked really controlling the way he had a hold of his shoulder. To me, that doesn't look the same as in CJ Wisnett's parents when they did the press conference. He was extremely controlling. Caleb was extremely controlling of his wife or girlfriend. I don't think they were married. I don't know why I can't think of her name off the top of my head. He had a hold of her where she couldn't have shrugged. I mean, he had her full shoulder crammed in, had his hands on her the whole time. He kept leaning in and acting like he was kissing her, but if you watch, he never once makes contact. He never actually kisses her. It's completely fake. And so, to my domestic violence experience, that was a red flag for me because he was very controlling. Um, he cut her off. He watched what she said, that kind of thing. Um, in my opinion, when all this stuff came out, the interviews with Dawn, I said he didn't. Have I done Cash Garden? I talked about him in some hearsay lives. I didn't do a whole video on him that I remember, but I have talked about Cash. Um, so that was kind of that was my opinion. I didn't think Dawn didn't raise my red flags. He still doesn't. I was very skeptical because Candace and Grandma hadn't done any on screen appearances at that point. Now that I've seen Candace, um, in my opinion, she acts like a woman that really thinks that her kid was abducted. Um, Most of that comes from her interview with Chris over on the interview room. I thought it was a good interview both days down at the swimming hole and when he went to her house. Um, she hasn't let at that point she had not let the boys go play outside, even though law enforcement was down at the driveway and a ton of them were on the property, and so was CPS by day two. That tells me something. And then whenever she did the interview and they went in her house and she said, the boys, I've moved them downstairs. They have to sleep with me because they can't be upstairs by themselves. That tells me that she's terrified, that she does believe that it's an abduction. Could it be a ruse? Like, could she be faking it? Absolutely. Like I said, I'm not a professional. I don't claim to be. It was just my opinion. Um, I just think she acts like something happened. Um, you don't think he knows what happened? Um, I don't have the same opinion of Allie and Hunter, unfortunately. I think all the interviews that I've heard with Allie, I think are very, very biased. She obviously doesn't like her. Um, her friend Leslie doesn't like her. I don't think her friend Leslie has ever liked her. I kind of wonder, like, from what I gather, and you guys can tell me if you don't agree, I don't think Allie was ever Candace's friend. From what I understand, Allie knows Candace because she worked with Candace's mom. Does that make sense? So it was more of an acquaintance, and I think she came to the house more to talk to Candace's mom, Candy. I've heard people call her Grandest. That might be a good name for her. Um, they all have the same daggone name, and all the other all the men are named Dawn apparently. So it's really confusing when you try to keep them together. Um, I don't know about the whole Jose thing. Is so weird. I've heard Allie talk about it. I've heard Candace talk about it, and now we've heard Dawn talk about it. That whole thing is weird. I don't think it has anything to do with this. I know Chris was saying if anybody knew how to get a hold of Jose to let him know because he wanted to talk to him. I don't think he has anything to do with this. And Chris probably only wants to talk to him to see what went on with the domestic violence allegations, which is another point that I'd like to bring up. I see you, Mother Hen Protector. I'm glad you're here. And Jennifer and Emily. Hello, Emily. Um, what do y'all think about the domestic violence thing in October? Who's do you believe the story? Like, do you the original what Candace originally filed? Do y'all believe that's what happened, or do you kind of believe Dawn, or something other than what Candace said happened? Put a one if you believe it. I guess I should have given y'all some whatevers. If y'all believe Candace's original version of what happened, put a one. If y'all believe that. I'll try to catch up on some comments. Y'all go typing away. Okay, y'all believe Candace. All right. Would it change your mind if you knew Candace had been convicted of domestic violence and served time? 9 months, I believe it was. Would it change your mind? Put a two. You think Grandma was hurt, not Kansas? There's her story, his story on the truth. Absolutely. Um, no, wouldn't change your mind. Okay, just curious. I definitely question it only because I've have been in contact with a lot of domestic violence victims, and obviously this is not the rule. It's not hard and fast, but usually somebody that's a domestic violence victim doesn't become a perpetrator later on in life. But like I said, that could be a thing. I don't, in my opinion, I don't think Candace acts like she's scared of Dawn, but that's only based on the little interview that they did together on the news. I haven't seen them together since. That's the only thing I have to base it on. She seems to talk freely, say what she wants to. She doesn't look at him to confirm they're telling the same story. Um, but like I said, that's just my opinion. It could be wrong. They Grandma Candy is in Illinois, says Dawn. He in the interview he did on another channel. It's so hard to keep up with the interviews. They're on faster than newscasters. I'm not even kidding. They're on the news more often than the anybody. He said that Candy went to her sister's house because her sister's husband had a heart attack, I believe is what he said. And they're both older than she is and pretty advanced, and said that her sister could not possibly take care of him alone. And so she went to Illinois to help take care of both of them. So that's where it is. Did he cheat? I don't know. He said he didn't. Somebody else said that he did. I don't know. Did she cheat? I don't know. I don't think so. From what I understand, it listening to Allie said that she had a thing for this Jose guy, and then Candace flirted with him or something, kind of thing. But then when Candace was asked about it, she said that he was gay. That wasn't a thing. And then I thought, doesn't Dawn say that Candace kind of made up that she like said she had moved a guy in, so he would come back. He would be jealous and come back home from Utah. That's what I think he said. Yeah, and then Grandma took him to North Carolina. Okay, I'm going to give you my theory, and if you can poke holes in it, do, because that's what I want. I don't have to be right. I'm not one of those people. If you don't agree with me, you're out of here. None of that kind of mess. I don't care. I'd rather figure out what happened than be right. Thank you, no one, for being a member. Yay. If I miss, so sorry. I look at the StreamYards most of the time and it's all in black and white, and so I don't see those all the time. So I kind of alluded to it, not not this past hearsay, but the one before that, I think. To me, the things that stand out are, and I'm not accusing anybody before we even start. This is stuff that stuck out to me, and maybe some questions that I have. June 15th, I think, is significant because if you're around enough poor people, you know you get paid on the 1st and the 15th. The first check of the month goes to rent, car payment, bills, you name it, stuff that you got to pay at the first of the month. 15th of the month is a fun check. That's when you see people go buy drugs, alcohol, they go out to eat, they go clothes shopping, they go, buy whatever they want to go blow their money on, and more power to them. I do that with every check, to be quite honest. Not the drugs and alcohol problem, but um, so the 15th is significant to me. So from what we've gathered, and we don't have a timeline from law enforcement, so we know from Candace that Grandma asked to be taken to the emergency room at 8 o'clock in the morning. Then we know that Candace took her and Summer, and she said that her and Summer stayed in the car. And I think that a few different times she mentions COVID, and I think that's why she didn't take Summer to stay inside the emergency room. Or that emergency room could still be under COVID measures, and they might not have even been allowed in. I know one of the hospitals that I go to here in Knoxville didn't even let my husband come in. He had to literally drop me off at the door to go to the emergency room. So here's where the story splits for me, because I don't know which way it goes. Hunter says that Candace calls him and says, "Do you want to go fishing?" Candace says that Hunter called her and said that his grandmother or great grandmother, I'm not sure which, was coming by the house and he didn't want to be there. Would she come get him? And Candace said that she told Hunter to ask his mom, and Hunter said, "Yep." She said, "I could go." Right? Right. Let's see. I just missed something. So I wonder, is it possible that Grandma texted Hunter and said, ask Candace if you can go with us? Thank you, Lori, for the super chat. I'm just gonna put this out there and then we'll knock it down, I guess. In my theory, that's what happened. I think Grandma could be a doctor shopper if her knee is not legitimately tore up. Could be a thing. Lots of people go sell pills that they get at the emergency room on the 15th of the month because that's when people have money. Could she have called Hunter and arranged it? Candace went and picked him up. They both disagree about when Summer put on a swimsuit, anything about fishing, and the whole swim part. Neither one of their stories match up. But we know that she gets Hunter after she picks up picks up Hunter, then gets Grandma back from the emergency room. And they go to Walgreens drive-through. Candace says that she doesn't run the air conditioner in the car. She leaves the windows down. Hunter says that Dawn calls her and that he hears both sides of the conversation. That Dawn saying somebody's touching little kids on the property. I don't know. In my opinion, if they are running around with the windows down and all that mess, I don't know how he would even hear her part of the conversation, let alone Dawn's part, unless it's on the speakerphone or whatever. They drop off the prescription. Then they go, not the hippie house, but the smoke shop. Hunter says that Candace buys a twisted tea. But when he's telling Chris that, he says he doesn't remember if it's a can or a bottle. And then he shows him a picture of it. Candace says Grandma asked for a twisted tea, and then she picked up vape stuff, right? Okay, so then they go over to wait on the prescription over at the swimming home. Hunter says Grandma stays in the car. Candace says Grandma went down to the swimming hole. Now, it's some pretty weird looking terrain, to say the least, going down to there. And I'm like, that does not look like something I would attempt if I had a knee problem and had just come out of the ER, right? But when Chris asked Candace, how did Grandma get down here? She didn't skip a beat. She said, oh, she has a cane and she held onto my shoulder and I walked her down. In my opinion, that didn't seem like it was a lie because she didn't even pause. And it seemed probable. So then she said that Hunter took off over to like the wooded part. So there's that. She says that she walked Summer down to the water. Summer started playing and she was filming her for TikTok. I think we've all seen those videos. She said that Hunter comes back from the woods and she pans towards him and he's like throwing up gang signs and everything else. And so she tried to take the video off of him. He plays into this Superman thing, like when he's talking to Chris, which I think is weird. He said, "Oh yeah, she went under the water. I took my shirt off." It seems like to me, and maybe it's just me. Wouldn't he have taken his shoes off? Like, wouldn't that have been the thing? Take off my shoes and grab Summer. I don't know. But he also says that Summer went sliding down these rocks, and that's when she went under the water for an extended amount of time. I don't see any rocks there. So I just don't think that's true. He also said that he asked Candace for the twisted tea and she just gave it to him. So if you're working with the concept that Candace is an alcoholic and is drinking all the dang time, number one, they don't tend to buy one at a time. Number two, I don't think if she was really needed a drink in the middle of the day, she would have given it to Hunter. Number three, it was in front of another adult and four, it's in a public place. So the story about she gave Hunter alcohol doesn't hold water with me personally. And I think in the scheme of things, if there was any evidence of that, I think the police would have picked her up because they could have arrested her for that and questioned her more about this day and held her. And she would have either had to answer questions or lawyer up. So, in my opinion, that's what would have happened with her. But she hasn't been arrested. So, I don't know. But did so they went to the swimming hole, all that fun stuff. She says that Summer didn't go under the water. It doesn't even look deep enough to go underwater there, in my opinion. So then they leave, all that fun stuff. They go to the hippie house. They go buy Sonic. Is there something else in there? And then they go to the grocery store. This is where it gets weird again because Hunter says he stays in the car with Summer. But Grandma goes inside the grocery store. And again, I'm like, why is Grandma with a bad knee who just got out of the emergency room going inside the grocery store? Especially if there was other people waiting out of the car. You know what I mean? That doesn't make sense to me. Um, and I also kind of wonder, I did skip this part, if she just got out of the emergency room and got a prescription for pain medication, which is what we're going to assume she got, right? Why would she drink right afterwards? Because they wouldn't have let her leave the emergency room with a prescription if they hadn't dosed her first. They just don't do that. So why did she want beer right after she'd been to the emergency room? That's kind of weird. So then they take Hunter back. Um, they take the weird picture of Summer in the back seat with the milk and the whole shebang. I don't think it's weird. I think, it's a video. It kind of makes sense to me. Oh my gosh, she looks just like her dad. Go take the video. Is her arm still up? That doesn't seem weird to me. But in my opinion, Summer is definitely alive at that point. She's asleep. Um, the outfit isn't weird to me because she is so tiny. There's no fat on that girl. She probably was cold, especially if she was wet. My niece has a sensory processing disorder. She is extreme on temperature, cold and hot. And Candace had made a comment about that was part of the reason they didn't turn on the air conditioner because Summer got cold really easy. And Hunter said that Summer kept trying to like hide behind his arm. So I think that validates that Summer was cold. She was trying to hide behind Hunter while they're driving down the road. It doesn't surprise me that she wants to wear pants and a jacket. I'm not reading chat right now, but I will catch up in a minute. They take Hunter back. Hunter says he goes in the house by himself. Allie says, Candace says Hunter goes in the house by himself and that Summer is still awake. Allie says that she went out to the car, which makes zero sense to me. She's not helping. She's not helping Hunter out. He's 15. Allie says that she has not spoken to Candace since October and that she hates her. So why would she come outside to the car? That doesn't make sense to me. And then she makes the comment about wake her up. I want to wake her up. And Candace tells her no. That's also weird. You do that with little babies, not 5-year-olds. Do you know what I mean? Number one, Hunter going with Candace is weird. If she's pissed off at her and they haven't spoken since October, that doesn't make sense to me either. So there's that distinction. In my personal opinion, I don't think Allie went out to the car. I do think Summer was alive when they dropped off Hunter. They go home. Here's where it gets weird. She says that they go home and she yells at the boys to come get groceries. I believe that's what I do with my kids. Hey, come get groceries. They take them in the house. She divides up Grandma's stuff. That makes sense to me. She says that she looks out the window and Grandma is acting kind of silly. I don't remember what exactly how she phrased it. Is acting kind of weird on the porch and is like, I want to repot these plants. That is not something that sounds normal if you just got out of the emergency room. To me, that just seems like a weird thing. And she's like, okay, I'll see if Summer wants to help, whatever. So they repot plants. Summer goes back in the house. Grandma says that Candace only goes halfway. Candace says she went all the way. This is where I think Candace is not telling the truth. She may have went all the way to the house. Maybe she had to go to the bathroom. Maybe she was going to get a drink. Maybe she was getting anything. But the conversation where she is telling the boys to watch Summer inside the house, even her tone of voice is different. If I was yelling at my kids, hey, watch your sister, it would not have been, hey, Summer's in the house. You guys watch your sister, okay? Like that doesn't ring true. And how many people do that in a house? She's 5. Plus they're playing video games or watching TV or whatever. That's fine with me. But it's weird that Grandma and Candace have a different account. And then she says she goes back out there. They've already washed their hands, all that fun stuff, gets a piece of candy, whatever. She goes back down to her mom's to help her with her knee brace. And she says she's only gone 2 minutes. I'm not believing the 2 minutes. I'm not saying that she's lying. I'm saying she's a Southern woman and we're slow. She's probably severely underestimating how long she was gone because that's quick. That's quick. At this point, we don't know what happened because she says she goes in the house. I've read other accounts. She said she was going to start cooking dinner and she yelled at Summer to come help her cook. And Summer didn't answer, and that's what made her go down in the basement and find that Summer was gone. That sounds believable to me. I don't know how long she was gone, though. So, my question, I guess my little part of the theory would be and at this point, Hunter goes back to the park. His girlfriend or his girlfriend's mom picks him up and they meet friends at the park. So, he didn't even stay home. Number one, the one question I have there is, does Allie realize that Hunter is drinking at this point? Or is that later? Because I can guarantee you, if I thought my 15-year-old was drinking, he sure as hell wouldn't be going anywhere with his friends afterwards. Number two, is it possible he wasn't drinking, did something stupid while he was out with his friends, and then came home and when she questioned him about it, he blamed it on Candace because he knows that she can't stand Candace. That makes a little more sense to me. So at this point, now we're back at the house. Summer is missing. What could have happened? And this is the part that I don't really want to put out on social media. So, only a theory. Y'all knock this down if you can. Is Grandma a doctor shopper? Is Grandma with Hunter selling pills? He majorly talks about drug dealers and all that crap in his interview with Chris. He obviously knows people. And in my opinion, Allie should have told Chris at that point that doesn't get aired. They should not have bleeped out the names. That whole section of questioning should never have been aired, in my opinion. And that's not shade to Chris or whatever, because I probably would ask the questions too, but I don't think that they should have aired that because I think that puts Hunter in a really weird place. And that's not safe to be saying people's names on a video to retired law enforcement who's working on a current missing kid case. Could she be giving Hunter pills to sell at the high school? Maybe not all of them, maybe just part of them. Could that have been a thing? The reason I say that is because it was the 15th, because she went to the hospital. She did not act like she was really hurt in the actions of the day. Obviously, I've never laid eyes on Grandma. I might feel completely different if I saw her do any kind of an interview about this case and this day and what happened. I might feel different about Hunter if he had a different interview. I don't know. I just don't think he's believable. I don't think that interview was believable. I think it had absolutely been nailed down by Allie. And I don't find Allie credible because you know that she doesn't. You know she dislikes Candace, And not only that, every single thing she says is negative. I don't care who you are. There's something nice you can say about people. I got a list of people in my head right now that I cannot stand, but I can name 5 good qualities about them. So to me, that's not believable. These people cannot be god awful, terrible people, but you trust them to take your kid out all day for like that. It just doesn't ring true with me. So I guess to tie my little theory up, did Grandma go doctor shopping and maybe not get the pills that she wanted? Maybe they only gave her Tylenol 3s with codeine instead of hydrocodone or any of that kind of thing. Maybe she didn't get as many as she thought she would get. I don't know. So, next thing I want to know is what does this stupid potted plants have to do with anything? If you know enough sketchy people, you know that they do plenty of trade offs, not hand to hand. I kind of wonder if the old flower pots were left outside and there were money or drugs in them, and it was a planned exchange for later. I don't know. I would love to know if drug dogs ever came through the property. I'd like to know if the shed that Candace told Chris he could check, just not mess anything in there, and Candace's mom's trailer has ever had drug dogs through it. I'd be curious to see if they hit on those flower pots. Which leads me to my last thing. I think somebody could have come on the property that would have been familiar to come make a deal. Maybe was upset because they didn't get what they wanted, couldn't get what they wanted, anything like that. And if you're strung out and you really want to fix, I've seen people do really desperate things. Would they have snatched Summer and thought, oh, I'll get what I want, and then panicked later? And like that part, I don't have nailed down. I don't know if Summer's still alive. I don't know. I don't know. Was Grandma given a blood test? I have no idea. But I think it's kind of strange that Grandma, unless you guys know differently, Grandma left town in between Hunter's interview and Candace's interview. So did Grandma see Hunter talking about drug dealers and leave town? If she has such a bad knee that she needs to go to the emergency room, how is she driving by herself? And how in the world is she taking care of 2 elderly people that are medically fragile when she just had all this stuff done? Do you know what I mean? Do y'all think I'm absolutely crazy? Let's see what the comments say. I talked for a long time. I'm going to have Algo on here in a minute. Algo and no one. I'm going to have a little panel thing going on. No, I'm not crazy. Okay, I'll take your opinion and I'll stop there. We'll go with that. If you think I'm crazy or you can knock a hole in any piece of that, send me an email, join Discord, and tell me whatever. Whatever. I just want to know. I want to know what you guys think. I do not think Hunter, and just to clarify, I do not think Hunter had anything to do with Summer's disappearance. I'm thinking that answers the question, why the hell is Hunter running around with a 60-year-old woman, a 38-year-old woman, and a 5-year-old? And why is he part of the story? Why is he, in my opinion, lying? But why is his story about Grandma different than Candace's story? Like that, if he wants to make his story different from Candace's, I can buy that all day. Like that, I understand. Why is it such a stark difference about Grandma? I don't know. I do know that Grandma was questioned. Like, I mean, obviously she was there when the police came, when they reported Summer missing. I do not know if she's taken a lie detector test or any of that. I just don't. I don't understand why she's leaving, even if her sister and brother-in-law are sick. That doesn't make sense to me. I've asked everybody I know, give me one innocent reason why Grandma's gone. People said, oh, she went to a doctor. And at first, people were saying she was in Wisconsin. And, oh, she went to a doctor. There is not a doctor in Wisconsin that they can't handle here in Tennessee. I mean, it just says that doesn't hold water to me. Number two, somebody said, oh, it's too much stress. She can't take it. But I can tell you, if I had a missing kid, there is no way in hell my mom would leave my side, especially when she's gone through it herself. That just doesn't ring any maternal instinct that I know. Is it possible? Yeah. In my experience, I know that my mother would never leave me at such a time, especially with the kids still there. The boys are still there. So, to me, it just doesn't make sense that she would leave. And she's not done an interview. And from everything that I've seen, she hasn't gone to any of the vigils. Do I think she's guilty? No. I mean, I'm not even accusing her of doing that. I wonder if it's somebody and she is terrified because she knew somebody was coming. Or somebody could have not even announced it. They might have been coming to do a deal. I mean, she might not know who it is, or she does know who it is. I don't know. I'm not accusing Grandma or Hunter of being like a moving part of this. They're just in the adjacent story. Do you know what I mean? It's just crazy to me that Grandma is gone. And why isn't she interviewing? Hell, she can call these YouTubers just like Candace and Dawn do. I want to talk about that too, because I think the further out from the abduction date or incident, let's just call it the incident, the less valid these interviews are becoming. Because like I've watched the Interview Room and their analysis and the recorded interview with Dawn, and I think some of it is Dawn can think about things longer. Like when he's asking about searching the shed, in Dawn's head, Chris is asking about the day she disappeared. Dawn's memories are what happened the day she disappeared and every day after that. So when he's talking about, no, I didn't go to the shed, and then it's, yes, I checked it, but I don't know when. I don't think that's a contradiction. I think he's, no, I didn't check it the day that, like when I first came on the property. But he did later. They went back and looked again. I don't think talking about the sheds is focusing on that, because even all of the rescue squad, Tim Coop, the sheriff's department, they have all said, if you have sheds on your property, go check, because you never know. That little girl fit anywhere. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I know Algo wants to talk about some of that kind of stuff. So I think I'm going to go ahead and bring Algo in. You ready? Algo, give me a thumbs up or something. I don't want to throw you in here. You not be ready. Do I think somebody would rescue Summer from Dawn? I don't, because to what end? Like, why didn't they call? I mean, at this point, we are 2 months out. Why wouldn't you call somebody and say, listen, this was a bad idea? I mean, what do? You can't keep her. She's 5. She's going to remember this for the rest of her life. They can't possibly think they can make a new life with her somewhere. Do you know what I mean? And her not say, hey, I'm Summer. I don't know. But, I don't know. I don't know. Helgo, I missed it. You ready? I was reading something else. All right, I'm going to add you in. Oh, what's no one say? All right, I'm going to bring Algo and no one in here. Algo has done a screen test today, so I know he sounds good. I don't know about no one. So if you guys can't hear no one or anything like that, you guys let me know. Hello, Algo.
Hey Jess, how
How
are
are
you?
you? I'm good. You ready?
Good too. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna
yeah.
add no one. Okay.
Let's wait for no one.
All right. Can you hear no one? Can you hear me? No one?
You have to unmute yourself.
Yep, you're on mute.
Hello?
I can't unmute you. You have to unmute you.
She's unmuted. Can you
Okay.
talk? And now
Hello, no one.
she's muted again.
I know she was trying to do this on a cell phone. That could be part of the problems.
Hmm.
So, what do you want to talk about first, Algo?
So,
While she tries to figure that out, what do you want to talk about?
um, I think I lost my train of thought. What were we discussing
I was talking
earlier?
about the interviews. What do you think about the interviews? Now that we're this
Um,
far out, what do you think about the interviews?
yeah. Um, I think the the interview that Chris had with Don is
Yep.
crucial. Is really important. You cannot downplay it. And in fact, in my opinion, it should be dissected further.
Okay.
And we he could have gone and analyzed all of them, all of their statements from the beginning of this case, when they first started talking. And I say that because we don't really know what their baseline is. How do they talk?
Yeah.
If we had more information about how they behave on and off camera, how they talk, we would get a better picture if they're being deceptive, truthful, or anything in between. That said, while I acknowledge that Don has a sketchy past, to put it mildly, and that's been confirmed by him and his stepsister. Uh, I'm leaning towards they're not involved at all, neither of them, Don, Candace, or Grandis.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and that's because there is at least four neighbors slash acquaintances slash tied to the family people who are
Okay.
just as sketchy as Don is, who had motive, means, and opportunity.
Okay.
Well, I'm not sure about opportunity, but for sure they had means and motive,
Okay.
especially two that worked or work with Don.
Okay.
And maybe when we get to look past Don with his interview, because let's remember that Chris said, and I quote or paraphrase, his intention to do the interview was to maybe look past Don,
Right.
not to throw him under the bus, but to lay it all out, and while acknowledging that his past is bad, outright criminal, he may not be involved in this.
Right.
Um, but as any investigation goes, we have to go inside out. So unless and until we rule out Candace, Don, and Grandis, we can move forward with these four guys that I'm talking about, or anyone else in Kingsport, Jonesboro, or wherever. Um, And about the other thing I wanted to talk about very briefly is that the whole bashing that Chris is getting, it's absolutely ridiculous. Uh, they're using one single snippet of a interview that happened 30 years ago under a much different training uh, form that, yeah, got a person convicted wrongfully, but it was part of the times they were living in.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I don't think that's fair. I don't think that that's fair. I think if you look at
Oh,
any detective, you know, they're gonna have cases that they got wrong. They just are.
yeah,
Um, but, I mean, you're gonna have
who has a
prosecutors
100%?
who wrongly prosecuted people. They're gonna have people that they didn't prosecute that absolutely did it. I mean, look at Casey Anthony. You know,
Case Anthony.
I don't think it's fair. To just pick one case and say, oh, he got it wrong. Because it wasn't just him. He wasn't the only investigator on that case.
Right.
He didn't prosecute it. And the jury found the guy guilty. I mean, and I'm not saying that it's a good thing, but I think just when you play the numbers game, that's going to happen no matter how
There,
good you are. I mean, there's too many people.
there were 12 jurors of his peers. There was a prosecuting team. There were multiple investigators, and it led to that. So
Yeah,
for Chris to take all the blame for that, it's absolutely insane and doesn't help find Summer. Bottom
right,
line.
right. I mean, to be like, I'll be completely transparent. I'm a subscriber to Chris, and I'm a paying member of his channel. Um,
Yeah,
and on the opposite end of that, I'm also a subscriber to Gray Hughes, and I'm a paying member of his channel. Um, so
sorry.
I am there.
You know my feelings.
Yeah, but I mean, I do. I support what they do. I think they both do very different work. Um, I know Gray Hughes is not for everybody. He's a little prickly, but I married a guy from Oregon, and I hate to say, I think part of that is his personality is they're from Oregon. He reminds me a lot of my husband's side of the family, and him when he's cranky too. So
Yeah.
that kind of rolls off my back. Plus, I'm an
Not
owner of a hedgehog, so I'm used to prickly.
not to put her on the spot, but we we were talking with Chelsea Diaz the
Yeah,
other day. Then he reminds her about every Oregon guy she's ever met.
yeah. Chelsea's in
So
Oregon too. No one. Did you get your friend figured
so
out?
it's whatever.
Yeah,
He's he's great at what he does, but
yeah. He does
not
great.
for me.
I think. Not that this is about Gray. I appreciate the way he handles cases in that he reads articles and documents, like court documents, and pulls stuff up on Google Earth. And for me, that's a really cool thing because I'm a very visual person.
Uh-huh.
And so, you know, and he likes you one day and he doesn't like you the next day. And then the next day you get up and you guys are fine. So I think he has some
It's
fair
like
criticisms, but a lot of it I think is his personality.
it's like a mix of John Lorden and Mike King. You agree? I
Yeah.
mean, John goes through the media, and Mike King is a geographical profiler.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
So, yeah, I
what
hope.
about do you think that these later interviews are just as valuable as the early ones? And are the other YouTubers that interview them just as relevant? Or do you hold Chris in a different category too?
Um, I'm gonna throw my resume on the table
All right.
and say that as a lawyer, I would tell especially Don to shut up and don't talk to anyone on YouTube or the press, only to his lawyer, LE, and investigators.
Right.
Because he might as well be innocent, but he's making a great job at looking guilty.
Yeah. I don't think he's doing himself any favors by doing another interview to refute the interview before or to clarify anything or answer more questions. I think at this point, I think
But
he should stop.
to
Yeah.
answer your other question, I think every interview is valuable in itself.
Yeah.
Uh, you have to compare them because the earlier ones will be more fresh and maybe more accurate than later ones. But to quote Steve Johnson, the truth is continuing. What was the word? Uh, the truth, the truth is just one. It doesn't change.
Yeah. I get it. It's steady.
Uh, if Don changes his story, that's a red flag. A red flag, not an accusation of guilt or anything like that. But why? Why are you changing your tune?
Yeah. I think that's valid. Um, I don't know. I think if he's guilty, he is going to get caught by keep talking. I mean, that if he
Yeah,
is guilty, the best thing he can do is keep talking because you can't keep up with that many. You can't keep spinning the lies. You won't be able to keep up with them. I think, uh, I do think Chris's interviews are on a different level than other YouTubers. I mean,
oh, of course.
yeah. Um, I don't think it's fair to classify him as a YouTuber. He's obviously a professional. Um, I think if if nothing else, even if you hate his interview with Dawn, because I know there's some people that do, I think he completely painted Candace in another light because when I started talking about this case, everybody thought Candace was guilty. Everybody
Yeah,
thought it. I mean, most, unless they thought it was an abduction, most people really were looking hard at Candace. They wanted her to interview, and then she did, and I'm not sure that that helped her a whole lot. She was obviously under the influence, legally or not, which didn't help. And then I think it was much different, Candace, when Chris interviewed her.
yeah,
In my opinion, I think, as weird as it sounds, me watching her, I think she's relieved that the boys, that
we're gone.
CPS is not gone. Like, she's relieved to be rid of them. I really think she was fearful. And that adds to my opinion that she really thinks that Summer was abducted. And I think she felt more comfortable when CPS took the boys. And
Yeah,
so I think that added to the way she interviewed with Chris. I thought she was relieved,
but
but I could be
why
wrong.
is that? Why is that she's comfortable with her boys being taken? That's a
Because
good question.
I think because obviously this is just me. They're not
Yeah.
together. I think she was probably, and this is saying if she's innocent, if she's not, this makes zero sense. But if she's innocent and she really thinks Summer was abducted and she has been so keyed up by keeping an eye on the boys 24/7, not letting them go outside, not letting
Oh,
them sleep upstairs, she could just be relieved that they are with
right.
somebody else and they're not going to be abducted or
Good.
whatever, she thinks has happened to the boy or to
Good. Good.
Summer.
I
But
like that. That's a reasonable, non-nefarious reason. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
telling you, working with some of the people that I do, that is not an uncommon thing. I have seen women lose their kids and they're relieved because of what they had going on around them. I mean, when you're dealing with sketchy people around you, you're still a mom. And I mean, I know some of them make really bad decisions, and when you get desperate, you make really stupid decisions, even ones that you don't want to make. And sometimes when they get taken, the moms are relieved because they're not around those people or not around drugs or that kind of thing. And then they feel free to get help. But
yeah,
those are the moms that fight like hell to get their kids back. And that's not all of them, unfortunately.
of course.
Yeah.
Because not all of them can get their stuff together, and that's just how it is.
Yeah.
But to have them taken because their environment is
Uh,
sketchy, yeah, I see that. What's going on with no one?
oh, she's back. Let's try this again.
Hey,
You were.
Oh,
Okay.
hey,
hey,
Yay.
I'm
Sound
here.
good.
That was way harder
you
than
have
I
the floor.
expected. I
Well,
can't
it's nice to
believe
meet
that
you.
Algo sounds like he does. I'm sorry. It's
Is
great
that
to
good
put
or
a
bad?
voice. No, it's great. It's great to put a voice
Okay,
to faces. I sound like a redneck.
okay.
Me and you both. We sound like we're not very far away.
We're just neighbors, southern
Yeah.
neighbors.
Yep.
How is everyone?
Good. I think everybody's good. Nobody's been thrown out of chat. We seem to all be behaving.
Well, that's good. We've only been banned once this week.
Oh,
That's
okay.
I
Hopefully.
mean, maybe we haven't. So I
What do
missed
you
some
want to
of
talk
what
about?
Algo was saying, but I think I know how he thinks on the
Yeah.
case. Maybe.
What do you want to talk about? What sticks out to you in this one?
Oh my gosh. I have gone from early on. I thought Candace. It had to be Candace,
Yeah.
and grandmother because Dawn had an alibi. And to me, everything really hinges on where everyone was that day. I mean, an alibi is key. I
Right.
mean, from our perspective, without having the cell phone data. Um, but then listening to Chris in his interview with Candace, really, I saw a side of her that was more human.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there were times during his interview where I felt like she loves her baby. There was love there.
Yeah.
And prior to that, I didn't see it. In the one interview before that, she was on. I can't. She might have been on something. Is probably a better way to say that.
Yeah.
Or she could have been scared. I mean, people. It's understandable to be scared, or nervous in a situation like that. These are private people, country people, so I understand that. Um, so I saw a different side of Candace, more human. And then there was the parts he started doing on Don. And I'm not saying that he influenced my thoughts at all, but I started seeing where maybe Don didn't really have a solid alibi after all, you know? Um, and I wasn't completely ruling Candace out. I still am not sold on the theory that she's some huge victim. I think she's a grown adult, and I think they have a toxic maybe relationship. I think she could kick his butt. To be
I
honest,
think she could too.
I mean, I really think she could. I think, I mean, that's just my opinion. I think
Hasn't
I
she
actually think she's a
actually?
pretty strong woman. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, hasn't she already? Or what was the DV charge? To Donna
No,
or someone else?
it wasn't Dawn. It was when she was in Wisconsin. It was before
Oh,
Dawn.
okay.
Yeah, and
More
even
recent.
that, I mean, I look at that. I haven't seen the report, but I can see where, we've I can't say we've all had it, but I mean, we've had toxic relationships, and it's like a drug almost, where
Yeah.
you're just drawn to it. There's like love and hate, and the fine line in between is very thin. It's just like extremes. So I don't necessarily take the domestic violence, just having one here and there. And I don't know hers. I've heard the Jose incident about 55 times.
Right.
I think I have those details down. But so that doesn't play a huge, factor for me. It really goes back to the alibi. What Don has said has evolved. His story has completely evolved. And there for a while I was like, oh my God, he's so guilty. Because I mean, everything Chris, maybe not Chris, but people, who were commenting on the videos, and maybe even some of the analyzation of it, everything that where there was like a red flag, I feel like the next video Don does fills in that gap. So he's adding a little bit to the story. Does that make him guilty? I don't know. I mean, it very well could. It very well could just be that he doesn't want to look guilty. I mean, that just because he doesn't want to look guilty doesn't necessarily mean he is. I mean, there are a lot of red flags, don't get me wrong. So I'm back at, I don't really know. I don't want it to be the parents at all. There's nothing in me that wants it to be the parents. That just makes me sad. But
well, it doesn't bode well for Summer if it's the parents. I mean, let's be honest.
Right.
The only way that little girl is still alive is if somebody else has taken her. And even those chances aren't good.
Well, that was another theory where I was hoping maybe because of the CPS thing, there's, I don't know for sure if CPS was supposed to come that week or soon, but there was talk about CPS. I think Allie may have said something about it. No, I don't believe everything Allie or Hunter or any of them say, to be honest. I think everybody adds a little bit to their story, and the truth is something none of us have heard yet, to be honest. But there was something, maybe she said that there wasn't a CPS case open, and Don has confirmed himself that there was a CPS case open that was about to be closed. He said it was due to weed, I think was his word. But Allie mentioned how the boys were sleeping downstairs. All of them were sleeping downstairs, and then the boys were told to move upstairs. So she moved the older boys upstairs. So there's a theory where it could be maybe something was going on. I don't know, but maybe they didn't do whatever CPS wanted them to do. They were scared that CPS was going to come back and take Summer, and maybe they did set up a plan where someone took her back to Utah or Wisconsin or Arkansas or who knows. That's just me hoping, that's what happened. She's still alive and she's just being hidden because he has a history, allegedly, of skipping states to avoid CPS. So,
don't you think that it's kind of strange that Allie said she called CPS, but she said that she's had no contact with them since October?
yes.
Why is she calling CPS? Like, what is she reporting?
Unless, this is what I was thinking on that, unless it was after that incident where I think Leslie is her friend, where she was talking about the kids. You remember, she was really upset about how the kids.
About the swimming pool.
Yes. So I'm thinking maybe, I don't know how long CPS cases stay open, and maybe in Tennessee.
Until they're closed.
So it could have been that it was a year ago, or
they give you a timeline. Yeah, there are plenty of them that go for a year. They give you a timeline, and you have to work the timeline. Okay. And if you start slowing down and not doing what they want you to do in a certain amount of time, things happen. But they don't close it out until you finish the timeline. And it doesn't make sense to me if the kids were taken because of weed, because Candace tested positive for weed the day Summer went missing. So if they were so worried, you know what I mean? Like,
So maybe
know.
that's just him
But I don't
saying
know.
that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Maybe I mean, I will give this to Don. He has told us more private stuff. I mean, really, I'm not, saying, I mean, I mean, it's
Very
ugly.
TMI.
Do what?
Yeah. TMI. Yeah.
Yeah, it's too
Yeah.
much.
I know
But
more
I
about
mean,
Don than I care to.
yes, I don't want to know anymore. But to his credit, that does go. I have to give that to his credit. And in the interview I listened to last night, I was really impressed with him. Do I think it's
Right.
an act? Yeah, I mean, we all put on that public act, but he did say he was sorry about what he did.
Right.
And think about each of us having embarrassing childhood experiences. And I'm not downplaying what happened at all. But he did come out to it. He didn't have to. And he's apologized to them, and then he apologized in public. So I feel like he's hiding what the real CPS thing is, and maybe he is. Maybe that's what it is. There's something there. Maybe there is some SA in there. I'm really sick of talking about SA, but we don't know, and it's difficult.
In my experience, if that's an allegation in a current CPS case, the kids would not have been there.
Okay. See,
they would have taken them immediately to the hospital to be checked. In my experience, but
that's a great point. So who knows what it was that the CPS, I think. Okay, so let's go back. CPS maybe was open. The case was open because of the swimming thing last summer. Let's say it happened last summer when they were friends, and in the process of CPS, in that investigation, which probably took a while for them to actually even get to it, they found all these other things. Like, it's unsafe. The boys shouldn't all be down there. The older ones, they shouldn't be in the same room with a young girl. Somebody in our Discord earlier today was talking about how that's like protocol. You separate the boys and the girls. And but maybe during that, something else, maybe something else, I don't know, drugs, something, and they weren't meeting whatever program CPS put them on, and it involved Summer, because she's a small baby. She was put at more risk, and so that that's me hoping she's hidden somewhere safe. At one point, I was hoping Candace hid her from Don. If the allegations, if she really was a victim, maybe she got somebody to keep her, and then Grandma left and picked her up, and that's a lot of ifs.
That's a lot of ifs.
I just, we want to hope for the best. We want her found alive.
The only thing. The hole that I would poke in the CPS story is if it was opened last summer, there is no way in hell anybody looking at that house thinks that they are working a timeline for CPS. Those kids would have given them a very short amount of time to get that house back in order. They would have made comments about the dogs outside, even though they're outside. 13 dogs on a property would have been
but
CPS.
But we don't really know how their house was kept before Chris showed us.
Right. But I guarantee that house did not get like that in a month.
I don't think it went worse, Algo. I mean, I'm not laughing at all. My house.
I was surprised that it was in that condition. Even at this point, since Summer's been gone, I was surprised it took them so long to take the boys when I saw the house.
But let's look at it this way. At least there's no clean. It doesn't look like a cleanup's happened. Something bad's happened.
When I saw that video, when I saw that interview, I said, there is no way in hell they are covering up a murder, because nobody cleaned that house in months.
They didn't. Yeah. So, I mean, there's all these things in my pro list for the parents that they could, if there was something really planned out, and there was this big, another pro is, and we talked about this last night, they called it in quick.
Yeah,
Most
that's always
Very
been my
quick.
thing.
they did. So in that's got to be put in the pro column for the parents, because most of the time, just like we're seeing with the Morphew case, I mean,
Yeah.
it's most likely something, everything was disposed, everything was done the day before and then called in. So there was a head start. So that does leave it a possibility of an abduction. And we've all been looking at all these players involved, all these people that are surrounding them. And it's a train wreck, just waiting to happen. Everybody's got a rap sheet a mile long. I'm not laughing, but
No, it's
man,
definitely not doing them any favors.
it's no. Um, and so if they didn't do it, I'm sure it is confusing. Like, who could have done it? Because everybody could have done it. I mean, there's so
'Cause
many.
I guess my question, talking about that they called it in, if you are saying that Candace, Dawn, and Grandma, or not Grandma, whoever, is all covering this up, maybe even the boys, why wouldn't they have waited till in the morning and said she disappeared at night?
Yeah.
Like, why not give
Yeah.
themselves more time?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Exactly.
that doesn't make sense, because then you wouldn't have even had to pretend that Dawn was at work if you believed that he wasn't at work. Dawn would have she just would have disappeared. Like, you wouldn't have to send Dawn back to get a ping to call 911 or, whatever. I've seen all kinds of theories. And dear
But
Lord, if you're one of those people that says that Dawn walks and sounds like the bridge guy in Delphi because he said down the hill, dear
Give me a
Lord, go
break.
find something to do. I about died
I
when
mean,
I saw that.
that sentence is creepy, but yeah.
That's crazy, guys. But
so
the CPS thing, like, if number one, CPS wouldn't have told them if they were doing a house check, like as in somebody recently called in CPS, they wouldn't have scheduled it. The parents wouldn't have known. If they did know, because they're working the timeline with CPS, don't you think that house would have been in better shape before CPS came?
maybe not. Maybe that's it.
I don't know.
Maybe
I
I
don't
think if
know.
the CPS thing is involved, they were on a program, because Don said they were about to close it out, until he claims in one of the interviews they were
There's no
going to
way.
be closed out until Allie did that interview, I believe. And so something that in his mind he thinks because of that interview is where it started again.
He
Um,
said that that's why the kids got taken, was the interview with Allie, which makes sense to me because I personally think CPS was there on the second day. We know that. They were actually down at the road with law
mhm.
enforcement. They had CPS people there every day watching the kids.
Yeah.
So, and they didn't move them. And in my opinion, it's because those kids were already traumatized. Their sister is missing. I mean, in my opinion, to the boys. I don't think the boys know anything. I just don't. They've
You
been
don't?
forensically interviewed. I don't think that they know. They wouldn't have been able to hide it this long. 3 kids who've been separated and forensically interviewed. I think the chances are pretty small.
This is my
But
thought, but I think they may have just didn't see her that day. Maybe the parents think they did and
right,
said they did, but
maybe.
maybe really they didn't. I mean, Don has come out since and said when those boys are in that TV or on those video games,
Yeah.
they don't even bring their head up. They don't know. And I don't know if he was saying that because maybe they didn't see her.
Right.
And
Yeah.
maybe
I
there
could
was an
buy that.
accident. Maybe there
I
was
could
really
buy
an
Yeah.
that.
accident. Yeah.
I don't think those kids in those age ranges could be
Every
forensically interviewed away from the parents and then separated and interviewed by CPS. And I'm sure they've had another forensic interview now that
Yeah.
they're out of the house. I just don't think that they could lie. Those
No.
age range, that's a spread. I don't
every
think they
every
know.
preteen, I'm sorry,
Mm,
would have liked to cover themselves. Yeah, I saw her. Yeah, of course.
yeah.
Of
Yeah.
course I saw her.
I mean, if they said, I mean, children are impressionable, and maybe they just did. I mean, it, there's a great possibility that whole story of her going inside and going downstairs never happened, because it is
Yeah.
weird. I mean, I don't see her walking her all the way to that porch.
Mm-mm, I
I
don't
mean, I
either.
grew up out in the country. I mean, we left the house, and we had good parents, but we were just country folk. So we ran around barefooted all day long in the woods, and nobody walked us to the porch. We just, so I don't believe that story.
I
Um,
think if she did, it wasn't for the purpose of walking her to the porch. It would have been because she wanted to get something in the house. Like, I
yeah,
could buy that story. I went in the house because I had to pee. I wanted to go get a drink out of the fridge, whatever. I think if you try to say I walked her to the house because I thought on my property that's staying far away with a locked up driveway and 13 dogs outside, I was afraid for her, is a little, but is pushing it. I don't think that's what happened at all.
so ask yourself, we're seeing, I felt like I felt like the lies that Candace told in her interview, the drinking. I mean, I believe she bought it for him. I don't
You
blame
do.
her for saying she didn't, because she knows she's going to face that could be, charges. I'm not going, I believe she lied. She shouldn't lie. Nobody should lie in this whole thing. When your child's missing, nothing else matters. It's fine except for finding her. These little lies do not help. But I think
No.
she lied about the things that she lied about in her interview. I feel like are to protect them as parents. The things he's lied about, a lot of it's to make them look like they're good parents. Ask yourself why. It all goes back to a CPS thing, in my opinion. And so maybe if an accident happened, maybe there was a swimming pool. There was that,
Got a dog too.
is
Mine's a
that
little
y'all?
bitty.
Someone showed me a picture in Discord the other day of a little like a swimming pool. You just pull up a little bitty swimming pool where you fill it up with water and then it expands. It was in a recent picture where she had very short hair, so it wasn't long ago.
Right.
Um, it's not. I didn't see it in the video that Chris did out there. It could be they could have put it in the shed. But what if she came back? She wanted to swim some more. She jumped in that. Something happened. Maybe that's been on their program of this doesn't need to be here. This is dangerous. Maybe an accident happened and it was something that could have been prevented if they had been following CPS program. And
But don't
that's
you
why they
think?
freaked.
Do you think now that they wouldn't fess up to it? I mean, they've already lost the other kids now.
Well, now I think they're so far in it, to be
Mm.
honest. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
My
logically,
mind
we're
always
thinking
goes
logically.
back. Everybody that said they're covering up an accident,
Yeah, no.
my mind always goes to look at what they've admitted to on camera this whole time. Like, what in the world kind of thing are they covering up if they'll admit to that?
That's true. That is a
I mean,
point.
what? Like, unless they were having, I don't
That's
even know. I don't even know. Something like eyes wide shut, parties going down in the basement. I don't know what they
No,
wouldn't
I
admit
mean,
to at this point.
if
I don't
they're if they're covering it up something, and on the other hand admitting to all they have admitted, then we have to go to straight up murder in the first degree, premeditation and all. And I just don't
You
see it.
can't convince me that Candace would murder her babies. You
No,
couldn't. There's
no, no, no,
nobody in
no,
this world that could convince me
I
that
agree.
Candace did it. Mm-mm.
no,
Well,
no way.
I don't. Yeah, I don't really either. But again, in all these cases, I look at where parents or spouses are involved. I say the same thing. Like I would have never seen it coming. I can't believe, because we don't think like monsters. I would hope.
Right.
Well,
Even
I
though
think
that's by Datelines.
what I
Think like
base that opinion on though is Candace still at this point has not shut her Facebook page down to private, her TikTok page, like none of her social media has been shut down. And if you look at that woman's stuff, every single picture just about is of her kids and
Yeah.
what they're doing. And I have said a couple of times now, if you looked at my personal Facebook page, which is private, you would not see as many pictures of me and my kids together because I'm like, nope, don't want to be in that picture. My hair looks crazy. I don't have any makeup on. I feel fat today. But Candace just, I mean, every picture, it's like, they don't have money, but they seem to do whatever they can together as a family somewhere. Like they're going to the lake, they're going to the mountains, going to
Didn't
Gatlinburg, doing stuff like that. And it just seems so, you just can't convince me that she doesn't love those kids and that she
didn't they
could spend
say
summer on someplace.
something like every money we have we spend on the kids?
Yeah, she
Yeah.
said.
And that brings up another point. They have not started a GoFundMe account that I'm aware of.
No.
No.
People gave him hell for going back to work.
Yeah.
And you know that they're not even on welfare. I mean, you can look at that family and see that they could benefit from government services, and
And they have
they're
done.
not. And he's working like crazy.
I
Like,
was
I'm not trying to defend him, but that sticks out to me.
That does me too. I forgot about that. That is, yeah, I mean, I say it is. I mean, he's a proud, that says he's, kind of a proud man and wants to work. And from everything I've heard from an inside source who's local and has some connections with his co-workers and his work, he works hard every
Yeah.
day, all day. From what has been told, and I can't verify this for sure yet, but two of the coworkers did tell this person he didn't leave the job today. He never left, not even for lunch. That's when I started changing, because I'm not going to have tunnel vision where I'm on a mission to convict either one of them in the court of public opinion. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And if they have alibis, I really, even though the little consistencies between Hunters and Candace, they were basically the same timelines. I think between 3:15, 3:30, and 6:09, she posted on her Facebook a picture. Something, so maybe she didn't know at 6:09. She wouldn't be posting at 6:09 on her Facebook if she knew her child was missing. Unless she was, well,
It'd be ridiculous. I mean, yeah.
Maybe some of these other, shady characters like the neighbor, the Dobbs guy. I mean, there are possibilities. It's hard to believe, but look at Elizabeth Smart. It does happen.
Yeah,
and if we completely say
Close.
no, it's not possible, then that's not really fair either, I don't think.
And even
Dagger.
Patterson,
Yeah.
Patterson. Is it Jacob? Jacob? That doesn't sound right. What's his name?
It's not Duggar. Duggar's that family, isn't it?
Oh, JC Duggar was one that was
JC.
kidnapped. Yeah.
Really?
Mhm.
Not the creepy
not the Duggar
guy.
family.
Not the Dagger family. No.
Way before that. JC Duggar was a while ago.
I see where somebody was saying they cleared. Yeah, they said that. I mean, they've said, Dawn has said they've cleared all these people. Yes, but we don't really know.
He says he's
And what I was saying on Discord is that they're cleared for now.
Right.
They could very well go back to them and find out that their alibis were not true, and they were there, and they did snatch this girl. Being cleared by Ellie is not really the end all be all at all.
I hope they pull phone records for every sex offender in the area in that 3-mile radius. I think that you can pull up at least the Dobbs guy, the Dudley agent guy, the Tony Hammonds guy, all of them. I hope they pull
and the 500 more than that there are in Kingsport. Yeah. It's insane.
But
Yeah,
at
it
least
is.
start within that 3 mile radius. I think there was like, I forget how many, 5 or 6 at least, right there. Start with those, because I know it's expensive to do the cell phone stuff, but there's got to be a little bit more than, yeah, their alibi solid because their buddy, their drug buddy over here, they were with them. So, I mean, I'm sure surely they're checking surveillance and really thoroughly vetting them. So maybe right now, yeah, they tell, TBI tells Don that they have an alibi, but
Yeah.
but so does Don. But that doesn't mean they're
Mhm.
not still looking at every single, piece of evidence that's out
Yeah,
there.
I
But there
agree.
is something that I think we talked about earlier, where they're not communicating with the family much. That
And that's not unusual, to be honest.
that
That's
is, or
that's
it's
not
not.
unusual.
Okay.
It's not. You know, another thing that I left out of my theory, according to everybody that I've heard talk about it, Hunter's phone is still confiscated. Dawn and Candace have theirs back, which is why I added that one
I don't
into
believe
my
that.
list. Well, that's according to Hunter. Hunter and Alex said that they don't have his phone back. Dawn and Candace said they had theirs back, and Chris confirmed it.
Chris confirmed that
In the
Candace
I
and
don't.
then have them back.
There's an
Yep.
I
echo
don't
in
buy
here.
it.
There's an echo, guys. I think somebody's got something going. Is it me or is it you? Okay, go ahead.
I don't hear it.
I don't
No,
know
no,
that they
no.
confirmed for reals anyway. But I
I
could
don't
be
know.
wrong on the phone. I think that's odd that they would give their phones back this quick. Most everything I've read said they don't usually do that. But then I've heard from some people who deal with that in other states. They said, yeah, as long as they've got the data,
Yeah, they just
they
have to
could.
download it. They
But
plug in Cellbrite and they make a copy of the hard drive on the phone, and that's usually what goes into evidence, unless it's something like if they find stuff on it, they'll keep the phone. There's plenty of court cases that we've watched where they bring out the whole dang phone. They'll keep them sometimes.
I don't think they deleted anything off of it. And I think that when he said
They
that
might
the
they
phones
might
were
have. That's
deleted,
normal. That's normal too. They'll wipe it.
they'll wipe that's evidence. I just can't believe that
Oh, they would have already downloaded a copy of it before it wiped
Yeah,
why would you wipe
but it
their
would have
to
been
give it
wiped
back.
clean.
To give
yeah,
it
but
back.
it wasn't wiped. It wasn't a
It
reset.
was the only part that they probably downloaded. It only involved around when Summer disappeared and after that.
I just I mean, personally, I have a hard time believing that law enforcement went through their phone and just deleted everything after 3 o'clock or 3:30 that day. That just seems weird, because if they downloaded their phone, they
It's
downloaded the
toxic.
whole thing. They didn't download just 3 on. They downloaded the whole thing. So the program didn't accidentally just delete 3 on. It seems like they would have to do that one by one or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's not
But
believable to me. And I don't believe that I think that's what I've read. The protocol for these kind of things is you have to box that up. Whoever was on the scene that day, the first day, they have to treat that like that was blood evidence. Basically, you make sure no water gets on it, nothing happens, that you don't mess up the evidence. And so when they get the evidence in, they've got to treat it like a bloody shirt.
Yeah.
You wouldn't send you wouldn't wipe off the blood after you're done doing DNA test. That data is blood. That data is DNA. It's evidence just as powerful as all that other stuff. So I have a hard time believing they wiped it.
Yeah, Chris commented on it because Don said it in his interview with Chris, and he played it off while he was speaking to Don. But when he goes back, I think it's in the first when they're analyzing the phone call, Chris says, "Yeah, I know why they did that," like in a comment. So I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Just that Don said it and Chris confirmed it. In my opinion, I don't know. I don't know.
Let's have him.
I think it's it. We don't know. We don't know. But I don't believe that they would keep hunters for 2 months, 6 weeks, and get theirs back within a couple of days. Don said within a couple of days they got it back. Maybe Don's just confused. I mean, maybe Don, because Don also talked about how there was a camera and a TV that TBI took, and those are friends. Those have got to be, gone through. They didn't get those back.
I don't know what to think about that, because to have carried it out, they would have had to. You listed on there's a list of evidence, and before they leave, you're supposed to sign it.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to think about that. Yeah.
It makes me nervous. I hope they're doing this right, and I think they are. They've got TBI, FBI, and Hawkins County on this, and maybe some other people. But that is scary to me if that's true, that evidence could be not signed out, like Don said, the TV and
Yeah. I don't know.
or wiped. I don't know either.
It's weird.
I'll try to find the protocol and read it.
You got it?
Yeah.
No. I'll
if
try
you
to
can.
search it and read it, because I don't believe that they gave it back. If they got it, and I also don't believe that if they did give it back, they would have just deleted partially the
Yeah,
data,
it doesn't make sense to me either.
unless they were trying to pull some scare tactic, like we know what you know.
Yeah. But
That's the only scenario that makes sense to me.
Right.
This is why I don't believe any of it, to be honest, is because I didn't believe what he started out saying. And I'm not saying this makes him guilty. I'm just saying when he said they gave us our phones back within a couple of days, we didn't even look at them. We just put them over there. And then somebody asked the question. We all went back and looked and realized our data was gone. That I didn't believe that. So the rest of it was harder to believe too. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's this is just a shell game. I mean, until law enforcement releases something, we're all guessing about everything,
Right.
Which is why the internet
that's
has
why
gone crazy with this case, because you can go 500 ways with this thing with nothing nailed down.
and that's my last point, that we won't know basically anything until she's found.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Right. Yeah.
So it's time to
It's
figure
all
out.
speculation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish we would get back to thinking of places we could look, neighbors.
Yeah.
Did all the neighbors agree to have someone search their property? Were there any that wouldn't allow it? I mean, put them on my suspect list.
Right.
Yeah.
That bring the cadaver dogs back around. It's been, a little time. Maybe we should do that again, or in the bloodhounds, the drug dogs. There's all kind of things that I feel like we should be doing, looking for her instead of looking for what
A suspect.
Yeah. I mean, I understand you have that in a way. You have to do that to figure out where she is if you're completely lost. But
Yeah.
and maybe they're not. This is my fear: is they're not doing anything. Maybe because they found something that we don't know about, and they know who did this, and they're building a case.
Maybe.
And that's there's a lot of quiet.
But in general, looking for a suspect before the victim, and not to quote Mark Means, is putting the cart before the horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's not quote Mark Means. Let's not put him on any more dang cases. Okay.
I'm gonna go puke.
This case is driving us all wild. It's driving us wild.
I know. I'm sorry.
It's all right. Yeah, I agree. I think We need to get
But-
back to looking for Summer instead of convicting people at this point. We do need to find Summer because it's still a missing persons case until it's not,
Yeah.
you know?
And yeah, and every day, it's hard to hold out hope, but I have that one theory that we talked about earlier, and we've all probably have one theory where she's still alive and safe.
Yeah.
And
God,
that's
so.
it might be low on the list, but it's the theory I keep holding on to and hoping
Yeah.
and praying. It's just hard to believe she just vanished like this that quickly. I mean, really quickly.
You know, I wonder with Candace's Facebook profile and stuff like that not being private,
Mm-hmm.
you know, could somebody have seen her pictures of Summer? Like anybody. I mean, right now I can go open her Facebook page.
Yeah.
Could people
I mean,
in
it's
the
it's
area
possible.
have seen
Um,
Summer and they watch for her? Like, I don't know. Haven't seen anybody talk about that, so I don't know.
the red truck, I think, is also a key because it's the only clue TBI's given us, the only clue, and I think they have good reason to believe that truck, that red truck, has something, played a big role in this somehow. Whether
Yeah.
I think it's more than just it was somebody saw a red truck around that area. I think it's that someone really saw it parked at the end of that driveway or in the driveway for an extended period of time, and it was suspicious.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. My immediate thought was, have they asked all of the Lowe's, Home Depot, hardware store kind of
Mhm.
places within a certain radius for parking lot footage for that day? Just to
Mhm.
see, because, it had a ladder rack and buckets in it. That would make you think it's somebody that's working. My dad owned his own business. Gosh, he was at Home Depot and Lowe's just about every dang day and sometimes twice on Sunday. They could just, even if it's just to get a license plate and contact whoever, because it could be anybody. It could
Yeah.
have been. It's probably not likely that it's not somebody local back in that part of the road and
Well,
stuff, but it's
that's what I
still
was thinking.
possible.
If you have, okay, when you register your tag, don't you have to register? And it could be a truck driving around with tags that aren't, or no tags. I don't know. But isn't there a database that you can run? Surely by now, I mean, this is
They
2021.
Yeah.
And I think somebody talked about that. One of the law enforcement that said that they did pull all the red trucks matching that description, like in the county,
Mm-hmm.
and that those had been checked off. But I don't know. The thing about what some people don't know, they have RFID chips in your tags now, people.
Oh, really?
Cops can run through a parking lot and it will go off. If there's somebody with an expired tag, it will notify them. Or if there's not one, it will ding. I found
Is
that
that
out.
how they do the card reader things? Because I always think how quick they do, the tag readers. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They supposedly have tag cameras everywhere. So if you
Yep.
speed, they'll know who you are.
Yep. RFID chips are in your little stickers on your license plate in some states now.
So
Yep.
where could this truck be? It wouldn't be in the area then. So now we're talking about possibly maybe someone came from out of state, maybe someone from Utah or Wisconsin or Arkansas.
Or Jonesboro.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anywhere. I mean, if it's somebody that's, I would want to know, just thinking of questions, is anybody on that road or in that area had any kind of work done that a truck would have
Yeah.
come by,
And I think they
Good
would
question.
know that by now. If you were in
Yeah.
that area working, you would have, and you didn't have anything to do with it. I don't think that you would not come forward. And no one I mean, I'm sure people have come forward, but they're still looking for it. The right
Yeah.
person hasn't come forward.
Yeah.
The
I don't know.
geofencing, I see McBean's saying. I think I don't know how difficult that would be with. They said they were having issues with cell towers, but that would be ideal right now.
Yeah, when they pull the area, everybody that dinged the cell
Mhm.
towers. Yeah,
And it wouldn't be a lot of people. I wouldn't think. We're talking a rural area.
no, no.
It just may take months to get that data back. Weren't you saying cell phone data 60 could be?
It's usually 3
Yeah.
weeks or so, and I thought somebody had confirmed that it was back, but I could be wrong on that. It's usually 3 to 6 weeks, from what I can tell, depending on how backed up they are. We've had a whole year of COVID.
Right. You're right.
Not to bring it up again, but the Vallow case, it took them, they were arguing over DNA just a couple of months ago, and people were like, they're just now running it.
Yeah.
They got backed up
Yeah.
big time with COVID. Stuff not going to court. The FBI gets locked down for COVID too, because it goes to a processing lab. So, it could be behind.
Or Barry Murphy. They had him
Yeah,
like in
Mm-hmm.
a month,
Right.
but they arrested him right before the 1 year mark
Yep.
because they just couldn't have an airtight case before. But I'm sure they had him very early and confirmed by September
I
at
think
most.
they wanted to track him to see if he would go back to where her body was. I really do.
Yeah,
I'm glad they got him when they did, though. He sure looked like he was about to run.
yeah,
Yeah.
he
Gonna pull a
was.
Scott Peterson.
And there's no
He
doubt
totally was.
they're keeping a close watch on them, even though it is weird that
yeah.
they just let grandma leave town and she's in Wisconsin, maybe Illinois. I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't think they've cleared her yet. I don't think anyone's cleared yet.
Yeah, I don't know. But unless, they have to be pretty sure to tell you can't leave the area. So,
Yeah.
she
You'd have to have
might not have asked, She might not have
Probable
even asked.
cause.
You're right. They would have to have probable cause of
Tell you can't
something
leave.
of her being, a participant in a
Something.
crime, right? To hold her there.
Yeah.
I mean, they could easily track her. It is an old vehicle, but I'm sure they have eyes on her somehow.
Yeah.
Surely.
I would guess that they've forensically cleared her vehicle, but I don't
There's
know.
lots
I
of
mean, they
background.
should have, since that's what they drove that day. But I don't know. Maybe they don't have a reason to before she left. I'm not sure.
Does somebody have a TV on or a family in the background?
Nope, not mine.
Probably
Somebody
me.
I think Algo's having a party. Y'all
Algo,
hear
are
it?
you having
No,
a party?
it's my mom that's
Yep.
talking.
Yep. Algo's partying with his mom
Right.
on the StreamYard. Okay, now it got quiet.
Did it go? There you go.
Okay, it's
She's
quiet.
just a bit loud.
I like to give Algo a hard time.
Yeah.
Grandma's truck is listed, I think, as champagne. It's
Or
like a
silver.
silvery
Yeah.
gold mixed. It's champagne gold. Probably depending on how dirty it is. It probably depends.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. The
I'm
thing
sure
I
they're
did find,
watching Grandma. I'm sure they're watching Grandma.
yeah, something about last night that stuck out today to me when I listened to the interview of Don last night is the part where he said he remembered just the other day, Candace came home and I ran to the truck.
Yeah.
Summer, and then I remember she's no longer with us, and that stuck out to me for several reasons. But the truck thing, because the truck's gone, Grandma's gone. I know he's got a work truck, but she's got a vehicle. Why she has no children?
Do we know she has a vehicle? Because if it's the Subaru, they might have taken that away.
Was it?
It could be being forensically cleaned.
Well, she was in it though when she met Chris. She still had that. I think they probably definitely checked all of those out and had
Yeah,
to have
I don't know.
done it before they let Grandma leave in the vehicle. The last known for sure sighting of Summer was in that vehicle. That's what
I
we.
wonder. I wonder if he would refer to that as a truck. I'm terrible. Like, I'm probably not the person to do it, but every soda is a Coke.
Yeah,
And like, I refer to SUVs and all that stuff, the truck. I've said it a bajillion times. So I don't know. I
do
don't know. That is a weird statement, though.
um
You ran out looking for.
yeah. So if we go back, and I'm sure I'll do it tonight. I've listened to every interview so many times, but I don't know how he referred to the Subaru
Right.
about
As a
it.
foreigner, I didn't know how many type of vehicles were a truck for you.
Yep. I'm weird.
Yeah,
No, no. I mean in general, in the US,
Yeah.
pickup truck, semi, half, whatever. They're
Hmm.
all trucks,
I'm from the.
camioneta.
Oh, we say truck is a truck, and then it's a car or it's a. So I don't know. Does anybody in the chat know how he referred to the Subaru when he
I
ne-
know he referred to it a different way because he said the something. I remember making that statement, and Chris said, "Which vehicle is that?" And he said, "Oh, the Subaru." But I don't remember how he referred to it at first.
if he had said truck, I would have like my spidey senses would have gone off if he had said truck after I knew he was in the Subaru. Does that make sense? And I
Yeah.
remember telling the story and being specific that he was in the 4-wheel drive Subaru or something. Do y'all remember when he was down, just got there going
Yeah.
to Billington?
No one. Are
Somebody
you
else said she
gonna
said
make
it.
me listen to the interview again?
No.
Come on.
Nope.
No, I'm kidding. But
For,
does
oh, please.
did anybody else find that strange that he said that? And it could be just looking into stuff.
What stuck out to me about that statement was that he said she's no longer with us.
And that too. That was
Not
Oh,
she's
yeah.
gone. She wasn't. She's missing. That she's no longer with us made me, and I'm not even suspicious of the guy. That one was weird. That
that
was weird.
hurt my heart. And also from the beginning, it's been weird for me, and I'm different. I'm different. I'm different than or y'all too. But they lost hope, really. John seemed to early on, but that just could be. Heard somebody say people who've had bad luck their whole life, or down on
Yeah.
things tend to.
That could easily be related to Rose, the
Yeah, that's what
sister.
I think. These people are criminals. I mean, let's not beat around the bush. They've had plenty of law enforcement activity. They're probably a little more suspicious of the police. I know he's made quite a few comments. I don't know what they're doing. I beat them here, and I guess there's some debate on that. But when they talk about Summer just disappeared and she could be gone, that's exactly what happened to Rose. And I don't know that if I had already gone through that as Candace or her family,
Sister.
that I wouldn't already be pessimistic and thinking, oh my God, this has happened again, as
Yeah.
opposed to somebody who's never been through it. So that I could go either way on that. It is weird,
It
but I
is.
don't know that that's not what I would do if I'd already been through it. Thank you, Emily. I hope the storms clear up. I don't like storms. They give me migraines.
Well,
I love
good
them.
chat, ladies. I'm gonna sign off now.
Alrighty, I think we'll probably.
Looking forward for the next time.
Yep, we'll be back Sunday night. For
Really
you.
good talk.
Thank y'all for having me.
Yep, yep.
I probably
All
dumped
right, guys.
all these thoughts that need to come out of this head.
Yeah.
These thoughts. Figure out.
And there are all Donska dogs right there, all 13.
Yeah, don't make it. That's a great point. The dog. We didn't talk about the dogs. We can do that another time.
We'll have to do it
Yeah.
again next week. Maybe we'll do a Wells Wednesday till we get this mess cleared up. I
The
don't know.
case that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
Teetering day
Yeah.
by day.
Yep.
Oh, I pray. I pray tomorrow is the day we
I do
find.
too. I do
Okay.
too.
Yeah.
I do.
I agree.
Well,
All right, guys. I have
thank you.
taken up 2
Thank you
hours.
for having me.
Thanks. Thanks for being here, guys.
Y'all have a good night.
Bye.
Thank
Discord.
you, Jess. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye. So I've taken up 2 hours of your Wednesday, and I'm not going to waste any more of your time. If you guys want to do it again, let me know, and we'll do Sunday hearsay, and we can talk about a bunch of other stuff. And then, if you want to, we can talk about this again maybe next Wednesday. If you guys like the time and the date, and it works for you, maybe we should do that again. Because I've still got a ton of stuff I could talk about, and more people could come in and talk on panel, and we can ask questions, and maybe we can figure something out. Who knows? You never know. But anyway, thanks for the new channel members. And if you sent super chats, I am super sorry that I missed it, because I was looking at StreamYards and not my iPad most of the time. And it just goes by in black and white, and I completely miss it. So anyway, I will let you guys go, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.